if you do everything like everybody else, you'll just turn out like everybody else. My family is no entrepreneurs. Everyone is like a straight salary person, work your 9 to 5, climb the corporate ladder, go to a good school, right? Get your good job. That is success. Because my parents immigrated to Canada when they were very broke, you come to value things like stability more, right? We didn't have money growing up. And so I started to think about, okay, like, do I want to be like everyone else? And I decided the answer is like, no.
Do you really need to drop everything in order to be an entrepreneur? Well, Gillian has an interesting take. She's one of the founders of Kiyoko Beauty, the biggest beauty Asian e-commerce in North America. And she's been doing this for a few years now. But the crazy part about this, she still has a job during the time of the interview while having an e-commerce that has 10 million in revenues for that year. She managed ultimately to balance stability and risk in order to grow a project on the side, and she left her permanent job just when it felt right. And this is not the usual story that everyone tells, right? Go big or go home, you should do just one thing, focus all your energy. Well, turns out that the story is not always the same. It just took one viral video on TikTok to change Gillian's life path completely. And what happened is that the single video still counting views as of today, and it made the biggest hero product that they had on their e-commerce. But what was the spark that made Gillian change her mind to actually follow Kiyoko Beauty with more intensity and follow this project even more? Well, we will see this through the interview. But before, a word from our sponsor. Today's sponsor is Belka. Belka is a consulting company specialized on digital products. Either you have a churn issue, an adoption of a feature, or just the user activation at the beginning of the experience of your product, that's the people you want to call. We've been working for 10 years now on the top dogs of the Italian landscape, and I assure you, this is not the most innovative country in the world, but yet we've been able to get huge results for our customers and to basically build the whole Italian tech scene with them. So if your product is not where you want it to be and you feel that you have some issues both on the experience or on the strategy, just drop me an email. We can talk about that. It's g@belkadigital.com, or just visit our website to get to know more about us, belkadigital.com. And let's see, Cosa Sposta, which means what does move the needle mean in Italian, for Gillian of Kiyoko Beauty. All right, so we are here at the EP3 event with Gillian. Thanks for being my guest today. How are you?
Thanks for having me. I'm good.
So you're the founder of Kiyoko Beauty. For most of the people that are following my podcast are from Italy. So what is Kiyoko Beauty? Like, how do you explain that to an Italian guy?
Yeah.
Also good.
So Kiyoko Beauty is a online retailer for all things Asian beauty. So Korean skincare, Japanese skincare, we do hair care, we do makeup, we do body. Think of us as like the Sephora, but for Asian beauty. So my brand is mostly we're a retailer. So we resell. We don't manufacture products. We're grabbing like the best, most viral products from Asia, and then we're making it accessible to people in North America.
All right. So how long have you started the business?
Yeah.
How big is its revenue side, and how many people are working with you today?
So started in 2021, and I would say it was a slow start. It's one of those things where you just kind of like, it's like a side hustle, right? So you start it, you don't try too hard on it until it starts to pick up momentum, and you'll go, this is really real now. So it's been 4 years. I would say we've grown really fast. So 3 years ago, we're doing $1 million a year. Then the next year we did 5 million a year, and then this year we're probably on track for 10. So fully bootstrapped, like no funding, no debt, no anything. So thank you. Yeah. It's like, that's what I mean. Like at first you're like, this is just like it's like a fun thing to try. And then it really just like ballooned and took a real thing. And in terms of the team, so it's me, I'm one of 3 co-founders. And then our team, I think, is around like 12, 13 now. Including people that work in our warehouse. So we do everything in-house. We don't use like third-party logistics. We ship, pack everything ourselves. We do marketing in-house. So yeah, the team, it's pretty lean, but they do a lot of stuff.
How you ended up starting Kiyoko? What was the personal spark or the story that led you to begin this journey?
Yeah, it's a good question. I would say, so first of all, I'm not one of those people that were like, oh, I always want to be an entrepreneur. Like I started selling. I've met so many people like, I started selling stuff when I was like 4 years old. I'm not that kind of person.
Like a normal person.
I'm just like a normal person. Like I grew up like with traditional parents. Like everyone in my family is like 9 to 5 people. And one thing about my childhood is I grew up in a place, I grew up near Toronto, but it's in an area that's very, very Asian, like lots of Asian Canadians there. And so I grew up using Asian products. Like, it's just like constantly around my house. Like, my mom shopped at Asian grocery stores. We'd bring home the hand soap was Asian, or like the shampoo was like Japanese or whatever. Then I went to university, and I went to university in a place that was very different from where I grew up. And I had all these non-Asian friends use my toiletries. They were like, wow, like this is so good. Where do I get this? And I was like, oh, I actually don't know. Maybe some like random grocery store in Richmond Hill, Ontario. Like, I couldn't actually give them a good answer. But that little nugget was there for me, but didn't actually like become anything real until Kevin actually reached out to me. So Kevin and I go back. We went to like math camp together when we were really young. It's one of those friends like you kind of like you connect, you follow each other on social media. But really randomly one day he reached out to me on Instagram. He's like, "Hey, I haven't spoken to you in many years. I really like your art." So at the time I was an artist, so I used to post stuff on my Instagram. He's like, "I really like your art. I have this like idea for like a Japanese reseller business because we know a supplier." It was like a really early idea, like nothing on paper, just like an idea. And he's like, "I need someone who actually has creative skills to like build a brand," because he's like, "I have nothing else except the name of a distributor right now. Like, what do I do?" So he's like, "Would you be able to like design a brand for me for this company?" And at the time, I was working as a management consultant, so I was already like in the world of business. I did strategy, and so essentially, I was like, I can do a lot more than design. Like, if you want a partner to actually do this, like this sounds fun. Like let's just actually try something together. And so we started Kiyoko Beauty as like started as just like one distributor contact, and it just kept growing and growing.
What was the thing that you couldn't find in management consulting? Was it independence? Was it drive? What was that? Because you told me like I didn't do it that for the money, basically. You
Yeah.
didn't have like this big number X exactly. So no finance, bro, passion, you're an
No.
art, you're
Yeah.
pure. Which is respectable. Like what do you feel it was missing?
I think in consulting, you spend a lot of time putting together strategy, and so there's no feedback loop. So I will say between options A, B, and C, like all our calculations and analysis says that you should do option A. But then like as a consultancy, I'm out after, right? I give you option A, I'm like, I think you should do this, and then I typically leave. And down the road, I actually don't have the feedback loop to tell me like, oh, option A was the right answer, and like this was the impact to the bottom line. So I was missing that impact piece. I didn't see where my all of my hours went. Like, where did it go? I actually don't know. But with my own work, the feedback loop is almost instantaneous. I could come up with an idea in the morning, execute it in the afternoon, and then within 24 hours, it is now live. You launch a new feature on the website because you had an idea in the shower in the morning, and then the next day you go on your website and it's there. And like that's a really, really great feeling.
Uh, Speaking about the brand,
Mm.
because that was part of the story, how you ended up calling it Kyoko. So what does it mean?
Kyoko's just like a Japanese girl's name.
Oh, all right.
It's like a real name. Early on, we were mostly focused on Japanese cosmetics, which is where we started. And the idea of Kiyoko and why we named it after a girl was we really had this idea of like creating the brand around like a mascot, like an illustration or
That's
like
very Japanese.
yeah,
Right.
it's like a character.
Yeah.
And then that character was like the friend that you could go to ask. It was like the Kyoko was like your friend in Asian beauty. So the idea was to make it very easy to understand, like no dumb questions, like and so we just really built this persona around Kyoko. And I think but to be completely honest with you, once we had that concept, we just went to like Japanese girls' names and just like picked one that URL wasn't taking yet.
Yeah.
And something that was easily pronounceable. Just Kevin.
So you met Kevin. You started experimenting with this first experiment, and how you ended up actually, growing this thing together. Like,
Mm.
have you hit off at the very beginning of it?
Mhm.
You felt that it was the right person. That was
Yeah.
the sensation that you both had. How did
Yeah.
it happen? Because a lot of people are looking for founders a lot of the time, and like, could
Yeah,
this be my person?
it's true. It's almost like finding a co-founder, they say, is like finding a significant other, right?
Yeah.
It's like you have to spend so much time with that person. I honestly don't have any advice to give because Kevin and I it's just like very easy. Like we have different skill sets, but we're both very analytical, very like logic, reason based. So even though I'm more creative, it's something that's really grown. Another thing actually is interesting and different about me and Kevin is that we don't actually spend very much time together in person. He lives in the US and I live in Toronto.
All right.
So it's part of our whole philosophy of just like we don't Kiyoko is not our whole life. We're very like balanced people. And we meet when we need to meet. We work really well together. And I think like it's a lot of it is just luck. Again, like it's not like I wanted to do this in the beginning. Like I didn't have this mission or vision. So I never really went through the whole like hunting a co-founder phase. It was more of a natural evolution of our friendship.
And you were saying that at the beginning it was just, some experiments, and you were also having another job.
Mhm.
How have you balanced that? How was it having a full-time job and also starting a business?
Yeah.
And how do you felt during the whole experience of living with the two situations?
I get asked this question a lot because to this day, we still have our full-time jobs, even though my business is so large. And there's a logical side of the answer, and then there's an emotional side of the answer. My family has no entrepreneurs. Everyone is like a straight salary person, work your 9 to 5, climb the corporate ladder, go to a good school, right? Get your good job, and then just like sit in your corporate job. That is success in my family. It's about risk reduction. It's about stability. And I think that's a very and it's also because my parents immigrated to Canada when they were very broke and I was like a baby. You come to value things like stability more, right? We didn't have money growing up, so you value the stability of the job. You don't take risks when you have kids to feed. The idea of giving up what my parents had worked so hard to give me and like dropping out of college, quitting my 9 to 5 as soon as I could to jump into my own thing, it really wasn't within my like comfort zone. And that was the emotional side of it. It was actually just about risk management. It's like, how can I grow this thing that I want to do? But again, it was like for fun, right? So part of it was like, if I quit and I put all my eggs into this basket, I actually think it would have taken away from my experience of it because then it becomes really sweaty. Like you're thinking, like I've met people that in my opinion, quit too early because they actually don't have enough scale yet to comfortably pay themselves. So every month they're faced with the question of like, do I take money from the business or do I pay myself this week, right? And then that leads to my like the logical side of my answer, which is like when you can withhold taking salary from the business, that is more money that you can put into inventory, into hiring. Like you can just make bigger bets because you're not worried, oh, if I should I hire a new staff person to pack boxes or should I, be able to afford my vacation in a couple months? Like you don't have to make those personal versus work trade-offs. And I think that allows like me and my team or me and my co-founders to keep our personal life not entangled with what we're trying to do with Kyoko. So for emotional and logical reasons, like it really helped us get to where it is now because we rarely take money from the business. It's all just reinvested. And that also allows us to keep bootstrapping. So we don't have to take funding. I feel like my brain is split in half, right? I have to do my like 9 to 5 stuff. And then on weekends, evenings, like we're on calls, we're dealing with other things. It's not easy, but one of the things I did in my there was definitely this turning point. I'll tell you this story of like when I was in management consulting, then I worked at a tech startup, and that tech startup was extremely intensive. Like I learned so much, but I was working like 12-hour days every single day. And that was when Kyoko was maybe like it's like within first year and a half, and I just had no energy left to
I
do
mean,
anything, right? Honestly, anything, right? Like I
that's
was
not a surprise.
yeah, like I was just exhausted.
Yeah.
And there was a turning point where I thought to myself, am I going to keep like pushing in my traditional 9 to 5 path because I was doing very well at that company. So I could have just kept pushing. I was being paid well. I could have just and then I basically if I kept going down that path, I would have to come to the terms that like I would have to kind of let go of Kyoko because I did not have time for it. Or was the other option was to basically find a more reasonable, relaxed work-life balance 9 to 5 so I could prioritize Kyoko. And there was this big like fork on the road. Like, what am I going to do? Am I actually going to take this Kyoko thing seriously? Or am I going to just kind of let it fade away and focus on my successful 9 to 5 career? And I made the choice to say Kyoko is actually important enough. Like, I need to take this bet on myself. My version of a bet is actually not to fully quit 9 to 5, but I did quit this like very well paying, fast paced startup. And I chose a job that I knew would give me a lot more work life balance intentionally. And it kind of, at the time, it felt like I was taking a step back in my 9 to 5 path, right? But that was like my way of sacrificing and like creating more time and energy to think about Kyoko.
Yeah. How long did it take to decide to leave the well-paid startup
Yeah.
job? Like, was it something that you just woke up one day was like, huh,
Mm.
I must quit? Or was it like months of asking to yourself? What kind of person are you on this spectrum
Yeah.
of,
Definitely not overnight.
all right,
But it was probably about like 2, 3 months
all right.
of thinking about it, and I think like around that time, I know we'll talk about it after, but like around that time is also when like we started to just like see traction in content,
Mm.
TikTok and stuff. And so there was lots of signals. And then also I was just getting burnt out from my job. So there's push and pull factors.
And was there an episode, some chat with someone, or a phrase that you remember telling yourself before quitting that you were like, I might go and do this?
Couple things. My dad is like a big quote guy. He will like, like my dad's like, he'll say the same thing over and over again until it gets drilled into your head. One of my famous dad quotes, my dad says, if you do everything like everybody else, you'll just turn out like everybody else. Right.
Oh,
And he's kind of right. If you just do the same thing as everyone else, like that's exactly who you'll turn out to be. You cannot become anything different. And so I started to think about, okay, like, do I want to be like everyone else? Like 5 years from now, is this, if I'm like, I don't know, a director or VP at this company, like, is that going to make me really, really happy?
yeah.
Is that going to make me feel this sort of uniqueness that I feel inside? Like, does it reflect in my career?
Yeah.
And I decided the answer is like, no.
After quote dad and
Yeah.
keeping still a daily job, you must have realized at some point that you needed help. Like you told me, should we hire another person and so on? How do you live with the delegation of your work, and what are the key things that you know in that area that you might share with other people listening to the podcast?
I think that delegating was something that I had to learn very early on. And that's actually is one of those things that I think because we kept 9 to 5s, you have no choice but to delegate. I hated packing boxes. And that was the first thing that we hired was like someone to pack boxes. Because if you think about it, it's actually not a good ROI on your time. In the beginning, you think you need to, but when you work in e-commerce, it's like, everyone loves the good story of like spending hours packing. It's terrible. And it's such a waste of your time because you can't, like, your time should be spent thinking about what to do next month, not how do I get through these boxes today? And then the next thing that we're thinking about is social media. So that's something that I started doing myself first. I was just like following, like, I think I followed like 2,000 people on Instagram, just hoping that they would follow me back. It was ridiculous. And I was doing it manually. I was trying to make content, but I knew nothing about content. So I'm like filming stuff in my bathroom, like editing it. And I was like, I hate this so much. And that's a good sign. It's like when you hate doing something as a leader, hire someone to do that job. Because if you hate doing it, it will not get done, right? So it's like thinking about what is low value? And then also what do I hate? And then outsource that. So that's something that we also outsourced pretty early. And the mentality is like, how do you create process and systems that enable you to delegate efficiently?
Hmm.
And how can you do it in a way that requires the least amount of intervention from me as possible?
How do you handle that?
Because Kevin and I work in big corporations,
Hmm.
we actually know how big corporations operate because we lived it. We live the process, the SOPs, the handbooks, the like everything has process
Yeah,
in a
it
big
feels
org.
like you are at the both time. Sorry for interrupting,
Yeah,
but it feels like that you are at the both time a small business owner and a corporate
exactly.
aware person, like
Exactly.
very tight.
And I know how the big corporations work, right? So it's like when I think about process, like I know what to do in terms of training teams. I know what to do in terms of like designing processes that anyone could follow, to how to scale the process so it's repeatable. Where does it need intervention versus when it doesn't? And all those things are skills that you learn from actually working like big corporate job
Yeah.
because these companies have figured it out, obviously, right? They've scaled to billions of dollars because they figured it out. So why would I spend a lot of time fumbling around the dark versus just applying what I know
Yeah.
from my other jobs? Yeah.
Speaking about the more creative side, what
Mhm.
happens when you started hiring content creators and social media experts, like you were telling me,
Yeah.
instead of following people by your
Yeah,
step,
yeah, yeah.
which happens.
Yeah.
Like how the business changed.
My first marketing hire was a student in Manitoba, and I remember hiring them and just saying, "Can you just, like, make TikTok videos 3 times a week?" And they were like, "Any direction?" I'm like, "No, I don't know. Just I don't care what you do. Can you just, like, make 3 videos? Thank you." And so that's what they did. They just started like I would send them products, like, "Tell me what products you need, I'll send them to your house, and then I just literally need you to, like, put out 3 videos." At first, it was just, like, some random funny ones or, like, some trendy stuff, but I remember there's this one day where one TikTok where, the student was basically holding this, like, large pink bottle of Japanese toner. It's a random product. I would say not popularized at all. Maybe popular in Japan, but, like, nobody was talking about it on social or anything.
Right.
Um, but they just made a very compelling, organic video about it, being like, "I love this thing, like, no one's talking about it, but, like, everyone should be, blah, blah, blah," and just exploded. Like, the next day, our sales went up 10x from the day before, and, like, even now, when I look at the growth chart, I could see that spike, and that single spike was because all these people, 3 million people saw that video, and everyone was like, "Where do I get this very specific toner?"
Wow.
And we were one of the only places that actually sold it, in North America, and so we just saw this giant spike, and to this day, that very obscure, random, like, pink bottle is, like, our number 2 best-selling skincare product. That was a signal to say, "There's something here from content."
So one thing that I believe everyone will tell you about e-commerce, because they tell the same thing about my business, which is an agency, is that you don't have recurring revenues and yada yada.
Yeah.
But it feels like having these kind of products sounds kind of like recurring revenues because they have like this big credibility. So does it feel like that even in the balance sheet? Like you felt like this brick of stability
Mm.
for that product after on?
But
Maybe more like evergreen, I would call it.
yeah, so yeah, that's a good word. So I think there's what we call hero products. So
Uh,
there's like I think our ratio, and this is actually the case for a lot of retailers, 20% of our SKUs drive 80% of volume in
huh.
terms of
All
sales.
right.
And so we have a lot of SKUs, but that's partly because you need to make it seem like you're the destination, right? You can find all the products that you want. So we have a lot of SKUs, but 20% drive 80% of volume. And then within that 20%, there's another like top 50 SKUs that drive so much of that bulk volume. And when you finally secure a product like that toner into that hero SKU, it really drives traffic, it drives your basket. And then all the other products around those hero products are basically add ons.
What are the other one? Like
They're,
aside from the
yeah,
big in Japan,
yeah.
the big in Japan one. What are the other one?
Korea is the world's like fastest developing like cosmetics industry. Every year, I think it's like I don't know if you can actually quote me on this, but I believe it's somewhere between like 20 to 30,000 new brands in Korea are launched every year.
Wow.
Yeah. It is an insanely competitive space. Now, if I was one of the 30,000 brands competing, it would be very hard for me to stand out. But the nice part about being Kiyoko being a retailer is that I just need to focus on stocking the top brands that rise to the top naturally in the market because I'm just a reseller, right?
Hmm.
A product can rise in popularity and fall again, but as long as something else takes its place, all I have to do is make sure that whatever is the most popular in the market right now, it is in stock on our store. And so, going back to your question about hero products, naturally over the years in the industry, there are hot products that remain like top products. And that is mostly consistent across all retailers, not just Kyoto. And so those end up being our core heroes. And then sometimes, like, one product will fall out of popularity and another will take its place. But our job is just to make sure that whatever is the most popular, 20% of products in the world for Korean skincare, we will have it.
Yeah. Do you have many people doing research? Is it a thing that you still do?
We have a team, so we have a product team that does a lot of the research. They'll do research on the products. That we also check a lot of international Amazon movements, so we'll track like what brands are trending. We also work closely with the brands themselves. So we hold about 100 brands like across our
Wow.
site. Yeah.
That's a lot of stuff.
So they tell us when they're going to be when they're going to be pushing a specific product,
Ah,
or like, oh, we're seeing that this is trending right now. Do you want to put in a bigger order?
This is so cool. So you see the future, basically.
Yeah, exactly. They share with us
Like,
their marketing
you build the
plans.
future with them.
Yes, exactly.
It's so cool.
Because they'll say, okay, so we're launching, XYZ new products next quarter. We're going to seed 400 influencers a month for those products. If you want to stock up now, you should do that now because in a quarter we expect demand to increase, and we know that in advance. So then we'll
Wow.
buy the stock in advance. Yeah.
Has it ever happened to you that something that had a big breakthrough in the market was a surprise to you? Aside from the TikTok video, which was,
Yeah. Yeah.
but like working with the brands and everything, something that wasn't expected at all.
Yeah.
You're like, what?
No, that happens all the time. As much as we tried to predict demand, when you have 1,000 SKUs, it's like you can't predict every single SKU to
Yeah.
precision. There's always going to be some surprise brand that comes out of the blue. Like I remember recently, there's this brand called Cecili. It's like a hair growth tube.
Okay.
It's like an ampoule that you put into your
Yeah.
scalp. Not an existing vendor partner. Completely like randomly just blew up. And then what we see is on our site, we track searches that customers are making where there are no results.
Huh.
So we saw suddenly there's this every day people were searching Cipuri, no results, no results. And so you see that spike, and then we reached out to them and we're like, hey, we need to buy products from you because everyone is knocking on our door looking for this product. And then we very quickly established the relationships with them and started buying products.
Wow.
Because we do so much organic content too, the brands actually see us as a very valuable business partner because
Uh,
not only are we going to buy their units, but we can also help them market stuff.
you have a voice.
Exactly. So we're well known in the Korean industry for being like the marketing um, retailer in
Hmm.
Canada. Yeah.
So you wrote a lot,
Mhm.
also without meta ads at this
Mhm.
point. A lot of it was organic.
Yeah.
Um, what do you feel, looking in retrospective to your business today, that really moved the needle, which is, Cosa
Yeah.
Sposta?
Yeah. Um, I am such a strong proponent for social organic content. And the reason for that is, first of all, it detaches me from meta ads. Like basically you could be going really well and the next day you turn off meta ads because you're like, I don't want to spend money anymore. Your sessions will absolutely drop because you're so like attached to your reliance on meta ads, right? Same goes with any sort of display ad, right? If you're spending a lot on TikTok ads, same thing. The moment you pull your funding, all of that goes dry because they're not evergreen resources, right? But with organic content, not only is it genuine community building, people are like commenting, answering each other's questions in your comments or like asking you questions in the videos, but also like they're evergreen products. Or really, you're producing media products and putting them into the world. So for example, a while back, I made a video about it's called How to Double Cleanse. Basically, like how do you cleanse your face properly?
Mm-hmm.
I made a video on TikTok. I'm in it. I think it has like 4 million views. And to this day, every time I open my TikTok app, there's new views, new saves, new comments on that video. And it's one of those things where if you put those videos out, years later, if you search into TikTok how to double cleanse, my face is like one of the top 3 results consistently. And that was from 2021. Like it's just one of those things where like that will continue to produce for you, right? And the cost associated with making that video is long gone. That's the beauty of it, right? I can produce a video and yes, there's cost, there's my time, my editor's time, whatever. But like
And some
what
people in Manitoba.
yeah, someone in Manitoba, exactly. But once the cost is there and you put it out there, you're done, right? You've finished paying for that video,
Yeah.
but it will continue to generate views, attention, community building on your behalf, basically forever, as long as your account is active.
Yeah. It feels, in a way, from what you're telling me, that you are social media company that also sells stuff.
Yes, that's a
Like
good
like the core thing
yeah.
is you see the trends, you communicate the trends, and people
Yeah.
trust you as a source
Yeah.
of information for
Yeah.
that kind of things.
Yeah.
And so you're like, do you want to buy it as well? But
No, that's very astute. I think that's so recently we have like this new subdivision called Kiyoko Media
huh.
where Basically, it was like we have so right now, I think we have over like 230,000 followers across our social media platforms,
Well,
which
congratulations.
thank you. But as it like if I was just a normal creator, like that's a big influencer. Like I would be a big influencer, right? If I had that volume of followers. And so
I mean, I think you are.
oh
Yeah. Numbers are confirming that, so
yeah, exactly.
I don't know who needs
I don't know.
needs
It's
to
like
tell you this.
yeah, I guess.
I think you are. You own that. It's yours.
Okay, so I am, yeah, kind of like an influencer. And we started thinking like, well, all these other influencers pay like charge crazy volume for
Yeah.
like it's insane. Like a video is like $7,000 USD. Um, and so we're like, why aren't we charging for like media? You know, so like we work with all these brands directly. And so recently we started charging these brands to if you want videos from us, you need to pay us in cash for those videos because we have over 200,000 in audience that you would otherwise pay someone else to do, right? And so we're not charging that much money for each video because we still want to be partners with them. Like we're definitely giving them good rates, like discounted rates. And then the other thing that other influencers don't have is we also have this giant email list, right? So currently, like we're starting to pitch to these brands like, do you want to hire us for media? Not just for the store, but media. We'll do videos for you and we'll do email. And that package together, pay us in cash for. And we've had some brands start to say yes. So we've actually started to monetize the content side finally. And that ultimately will help the retail side too.
When did you notice that? Like, when was the moment that you were like,
Yeah.
are we giving away too much for free?
This is it was earlier this year. I found out through someone else that one of our like similar skincare creators in our space was charging one of our brands that we work with. I think it was like $20,000 for one video.
Wow.
We're actually sitting on this asset to your point or to
Yeah.
your observation that like we're sitting on like our biggest asset right now is the media side, right? Um and that is something that is our competitive moat. Like you like yes, technically you could find a distributor tomorrow, sign a brand, right? Like we don't have exclusive rights for these brands. They don't do that. So technically yes, like someone could create the brand and try to resell the same products as us, but our IP, right, as a retailer is actually the media side. It's the social media following, it's the community.
What do you think is Kiyoko driver to success? Is it product? Is it community? Is it storytelling? Is this
Mm,
this strong bond remote with your
yeah.
founder? Like if you had to isolate some points.
So the content is one piece, which we talked about, right? It's like this organic, it's like the trust
Yeah.
building with your audience, being like a source of educational guidance. And then I do think that it's the other thing is just like our ability to run lean and rely on process, as I've mentioned, like
Hmm.
this idea that we know how to scale from the very beginning. So it like the actual structure, the bones of the company, I would say, are rooted in already best practice. Like we're not messy because we actually know how to build the structure, the bones of a good company. And the third is I think we're just like very level-headed, calm founders. Because of the whole financial stability, because of the way that we sort of see the market ebb and flow and we just place ourselves strategically. Like, I think there's this sort of like calm preparedness in the way that we approach things. And we're not sort of like frantic, we're not burnt out founders, I don't think, because we're not trying to exit for a dollar value. We have no plans to like sell to whatever, right? It's not like that. It's really like, where can we take this? How can we build something that's really special, that actually serves a need in making these products accessible? How do we resonate with like our community and like how do we actually connect the customers? But like make it like keep making it fun. And as long as that we're still like in this sort of flow state, then I'm happy with it. And so is my co-founder. So that's kind of like the visions.
From the internet, I heard,
Mm.
because I'm not a big fan of Canadian Korean skincare. I hope you don't mind. They just moved to a new warehouse. Um, what are the plans for the future aside from having bigger warehouses and
Yeah.
more product, and that's probably not the plan. So
Yeah.
what's next? What's your vision?
So in terms of short term, very exciting. We're currently redesigning our entire website.
Oh,
So that is launching very soon at the end of the summer, early fall. That's been really interesting because it's actually amazing. We've gotten this far by only using a default Shopify theme.
I love
So
it.
it's time to do like a custom build. So we're really excited working with this agency in Toronto. So working through that. And then we're also launching a mobile app later this year.
Wow.
Yeah, because we see that conversion is actually very high when you're in a native app.
Yes.
People like to shop on phone. Like 80% of our volume is already coming through mobile. So you might as well just make an app so it's easier for them to use. And ultimately, we might also raise some capital next year just because if we want to grow even faster,
Have you ever tell anyone on the internet about this?
raising capital?
Yeah.
No, I mean,
This is an exclusive.
yes.
Woohoo!
Yes, this is like new
Woo!
information. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So we're looking
Thanks for
to
sharing.
potentially, yeah, raise some
Wow.
capital. I don't know exactly what form that is. So like again, we're very just like going with the flow in terms of
Evaluating
where that
choices.
yeah,
Yeah.
evaluate our choices. But I think
Fun to
it's
do
like
that.
yeah,
It's great that you
we're
can
in a
do that.
good spot.
It's the best way to raise capital, I believe.
Yeah, exactly. It's like when you're not desperate,
Yes.
right? Exactly. And because people can smell your desperation, if you're desperate. No, like we could continue bootstrapping, like we're profitable, we're going things are going great. But it's like if we really want to like, 10x, we need capital to do that. And we're like realistically, like that's what it takes. So we're just evaluating our options right now, but that's sort of like the more ambiguous future.
Something that I've seen with a lot of different entrepreneurs is that a lot of them discover stuff about themselves.
Hmm.
So it's a journey of meaning and not just money. What have you discovered about yourself living Kiyoko? What was the unexpected things that were like, oh,
Mm.
I this person?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, I think I have mentioned a little bit about like the philosophy of sort of building something that I'm proud of and like it being purpose driven. I think that was always the intention from the start. But I do remember like early on, I think this was maybe like in the first year or within the first year and a half, I was walking with my best friend in a park and I was so burnt out from the day job and the Kiyoko stuff and I was fed up. This was before we made any hires. Like I was just like this sucks. Like, I actually don't want to do this anymore. And I had this very long conversation with her about actually just like stepping away, giving the like letting my co-founder buy me out on my like shares
Hmm.
and just like maybe work for a company as like an employee. And so I just remember like walking with her. I was like, do I even want this anymore? Like, I have to put in my own cash. It's extra work. Like this, I don't even know where this is gonna go. Like, should I just give this up? And we had this like really long conversation, and I realized the thing that was actually holding me back is like the fear. There's like this embarrassment, there's like the social fear, there's the financial fear. And then, like I mentioned to you, like my parents were very traditional, so
Yeah.
they don't understand like the whole entrepreneur thing. And I had that long conversation. It was inconclusive walk. I was just like really framed. But I remember that walk so clearly because I was basically thinking about telling Kevin, like, I'm gonna walk away from all the shares. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. Um, and then the next day, I was scrolling on TikTok, as all things happen on TikTok these days, and I just like saw this video of this random guy being like, you know, um, what would you do if you were not afraid? That's literally it. It's just like I am afraid of what it means to do all of these things, afraid of all the factors in front of me, and what would I do if fear were not an option? I kind of want to just keep going and seeing where it goes. It's the
Yeah.
lack of fear is the curiosity to continue, right? It's the curiosity and open-mindedness to say, let's just see where this goes.
What's the thing that you wish you knew when you started?
Hmm.
Something that you would say to young Gillian?
I think that so this is advice that I give to earlier stage founders that I meet at like networking events or whatever. And the advice is like to think like a CEO and ask yourself the question, is would a CEO do what I'm doing right now? So it kind of goes back to what I said to you about like wasting time packing boxes, right?
Mm.
So one great example is like last year we made the decision to outsource email.
Mm.
I did email for so long myself, like in Klaviyo, setting up flows, designing emails, blah blah. And then I got bored. So then I hired someone else, like a part-time person on my team to do email. But it was still too many things for me to think about. And so finally it's like, okay, would a CEO be sitting through email reviews every night, queuing up email campaigns to go out and like setting up flows? I'm like, no, this doesn't feel right. Like a CEO would not do this. And you have to like check with yourself, like, would a CEO do this? And then so we hired an email agency. And now it's like, I don't think about it ever. Like literally, I approve the invoice and then occasionally I go to like a once a month like strategy meeting with them to talk about what we're gonna do for emails. And that feels appropriate for the level of engagement I should do.
Young 2019 Gillian, find the CEO within yourself.
Exactly.
That's the advice.
Yes.
Have you found it?
Yeah.
Is it a wide middle-aged man?
Yeah. Could I imagine a middle-aged white guy doing this? No? Don't you?
We're not cutting this. All right, so you do a lot of different things. You had like most demanding job in the world, which is a startup, and also having another startup on the side. I don't know if you have time to do things from your spare time. Does your spare time exist?
Yeah.
Let's find out. What are you curious about your work today?
I have this like philosophy, which is like, if I talk to someone and they're like, I'm like so busy, I'm wall to wall every day, like I only have 10 minutes to like do whatever I want. Like I only 10 minutes to talk to you right now. To me, that means you're not doing something right. Like if that's how you're living your life, you're not delegating enough, right? You're not setting up the right processes, structures, scalability that you need to.
Or maybe
Because
trying to do too many things.
doing too many things, focus down, right? I am such a strong believer of like balance in life because I think it actually makes me a better leader for my team, but also I think it makes me very clear-headed. I sleep 7, 8 hours a night. I play sports. I play a lot of video games.
Will you play?
Spend time. Video games?
And sports.
Oh, sports. Sports. I've been recently playing a lot of spike ball. Do you know what that is?
Yeah,
Spike ball. I play a lot of badminton. And I also do like some like yoga, Pilates classes, whatever.
video games?
Video games. I play a lot of video games. I currently just finished Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
Or hey,
I've played like all the Zelda games. I've played like the PS5, like Horizon Zero Dawn. I've played God of War. Like I'm a big like I play a lot of League of Legends. Like just like lots of games. That's like probably my favorite sort of like rot thing to do besides scrolling on TikTok. So I don't only watch TV or movies. Like my thing is like play because it's more engaging.
Yeah.
You're interacting with the thing. And I spend time with my friends. I spend time with my partner. Like I think just like being very balanced makes me a better person overall. I don't do well if I work too much. Like I actually feel slower than if I am like bouncing around things. And if I think about like ultimately the philosophy is like, what do I want to be doing in 5 years? What do I want to do? Honestly, it's to have fun in life. Because if I'm not having fun, then what is this all for? You know? So as long as I continue to do things that I think are fun in business, in personal life, whatever, then I'm happy.
that's a great way to close this interview. Thanks for sharing this much, Gillian. Well, also thanks to Andrew that made this interview possible. We will have packed 3 days at interesting people. So we get both interesting people, also led by not my mom alone, which obviously thinks are the best since I'm interviewing you. And thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah, and good luck with the next years of Kiyoko. I wish you a lot of fun.
Thank you.
You've seen the whole episode, so feel free to subscribe or leave a like to this episode. You will help me a lot to make this content available to more people. If you prefer to listen to things, I'm also uploading the podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcast. And if you feel very generous and very enthusiastic about the project, at least as much as I am, you can also leave a tip here on YouTube or subscribe. You will get the episodes a little bit before everyone else, but the most thing is you will support the project. That's the main thing. If you're even more curious to know about Cosa Sposta and whatever is happening behind the scenes, I also have a Substack. It's cosasposta.substack.com. You can just search for it, or it's down here in the description of the video. A new episode of Cosa Sposta is out in a couple of weeks. We will go back to Italian, so study your hand gestures, please, and see you in a couple of weeks. Ciao!